I want to see what our rooms look like. That's the worst part. Is I know they're all painted up and
Oh,
nice. Yeah.
I never took the stuff off my walls before we left,
Oh,
so
I
it's
didn't
gonna be
think about. There's a whole half the school who probably didn't do that. Yeah.
They
yeah,
probably painted around
yeah.
it.
No, they left it in a nice pile for you. There was rooms that were
Dickerson,
definitely.
Dickerson, I'm gonna need your feedback. I attempted to set up my own studio like setup with my lights and all that fun stuff. It looks like garbage right now. I'm gonna let you know that.
See my loft right now. I've got cables
Oh
everywhere.
no,
It's disgusting.
that's actually pretty good. That's pretty good. Like lighting, it's diffused. It's not like hard on your face.
I like the
Yeah,
Are you gonna do a backdrop?
I have. Yeah, I was looking to do. I have a green screen cloth, but
Mhm.
when I put it up there and tried to use it, Zoom would key me out and leave the background just as it was instead of the other way around. So I was just like, I'll pause on that for now.
That's weird. I've been using Logitech Capture. It's a free program you can use, and it does really well. And on Zoom, when you go to like share screen, one of the options is to just share my Logitech Capture. So I would
Oh,
try that. It's definitely good for recording. It's not great for like the live streaming stuff, but it's really
okay.
good for recording because you can switch between like sharing one screen, sharing the other one, just you, having you on the bottom. It's really dynamic. And
Oh,
it's free.
well, hold on. Are you using like a Windows device
Yeah, I'm using a Windows
with a
device.
webcam?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because I'm working on my laptop. The school laptop
Oh,
just sits here because it's almost useless in what I'm trying to do.
yeah.
we're not allowed
I
to
mean, it's
install
free.
anything. So
Yeah, that's the only
Yeah,
problem with our laptops is that getting around the admin stuff. You could probably just let Susan know you're trying to do something. She'll probably give you admin rights. But the funny thing is, like, nothing changes with these computers unless we go to the school Wi-Fi. So we're kind
yeah,
of beat right now. I mean, I guess you could like tell her and then drive to the parking lot and just sit there. Um, I drove to
yeah.
school
That
to
would be.
reset my password because I was having trouble with the website, and I was like, you know what? It's a 5 minute drive. So I was in the parking lot of Wakaiva changing my password and everything. But
we should do a parking
That's gonna be
lot
awesome.
tailgate. Kids kids got to stay 10 feet away from each other, but they can park and use the Wi-Fi.
I was thinking it'd be cool to do like a drive-in movie or something like that for the seniors, but there's just no way to stop it from devolving into like people getting out of their
Yeah,
cars to say hi and hug each other. And I wouldn't want to be responsible for like facilitating an environment where that happened. But if we had like people there who are like, stay in your cars, it'd be great. But I don't know. You got to figure something out for them. Though. That's really like my main source of grief around this has been like one, a lot of the fun parts about teaching kind of been like pulled out. They're harder to mine for now. The tedious parts are all
hmm,
still there. But the big thing's the seniors. I mean, it's rough for them. A lot of them already bought their
yeah.
clothes and stuff. At least have them like take pictures and flex online for their friends or something. I don't know what we could do, like a photo shoot or something. I don't know.
That would actually be awesome to kind of
Yeah.
have them do. What was it? I was watching. Somehow I ended up on YouTube and watching like people's acceptance like videos for the schools they got into and stuff like that, just so they could have something out there to say, yeah, look, I'm actually graduating. Like, but that would be awesome to do. Like, they'd have to do like a graduation selfie if it were, or a senior
Yeah.
selfie or something like that, and then put that all together.
Oh,
We're
that's a good thing though for signing days. I didn't think about that because signing days are pretty big, and now they're kind of losing that experience. So maybe just having like the students do like one on online, then we can put it on the news or something for somebody because a lot of the signing days haven't happened yet. Like all the track kids and everything, they're still waiting on their season. Well, I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on with their season, but
we
that's another interesting thing for like college sports. So do these kids get an extra year now? Like because this season didn't count, so football players like are you gonna get like you know
Well,
what I
I was
mean?
gonna
Like
say it would have to be those that were after, I guess, spring sports. I know for wrestling, which is usually a winter sport, they said they weren't going to give them another year of eligibility.
Because so it depends on whether the season ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's rough. And I mean, it's also going to be interesting too because they're still in the gym. I mean, personal gyms at home or wherever it is. So those kids are getting a year of experience and bulking and everything. You know, with those nutritionists and all their personal trainers, and they're going to come back next year fierce and older with more muscle mass. So it'll be a real interesting year, but we'll see how sports work. I mean, for the most part, we got through the ones that mattered. It was only NHL that really got kind of messed up, but my Devils aren't doing too good, so I'm all right with it. I was like, it's fine. Dickerson, you know that you're not like visible right now, right?
Yeah, my camera for some reason it won't work in Zoom and work in OBS at the same time, or Zoom just hates me. So
no, my webcams always do that too. It's like one program only. That's the only way it works.
Yeah.
I've actually got.
I will never be frustrated by a technical problem at school ever again. That's my mantra. It's like every time a printer jams or something breaks, I'm like, whatever. I'm at school. Like it's not a big deal.
It's like, remember that time we had to live at home for a couple of months?
Well, that's the thing is like if something breaks now, it's an issue because then you're not accessible. But at school, it's just like, okay, paper, here we go. You know?
Yeah.
It's not as big a deal, but this is definitely one of those moments that kind of makes you a little bit more grateful. I've been doing daily journals. Like that's my big thing for the kids. That's what I've been assigning every day is just daily journal entries, kind of like bell work, but a little bit more expanded. And we're working on like grief and emotions. Like today's prompt was draw something that made you unreasonably angry. And I kind of talked about like when you're stuck with people on top of each other, you don't have an escape. You tend to get, frustrated at little things. Like what's something that really frustrated you? And I had a little drawing of like the dishes stacked up in my sink. And I'm like, how do we have this many dishes when we don't eat food, But it was just a cute little thing for the kids, but kind of trying to use this because I think it's historical. There's a good art show in here somewhere. There's a good bit of, commentary that I can pull from the students' work and really curate something nice, I think, at the end of the year. I think it'd be really interesting. If we have to do it beginning of next year, whenever we have to do it, I still think that this is a good opportunity to just mine some creativity from the situation and do something.
Yeah, because then it becomes like a project, a longer project. And so when they do create pieces, they can go back, and say, okay, well, remember the drawing you did during X time and the emotion, how can you put that in a digital space or, whatever it is.
Yeah,
so,
I'm definitely going to have them like expand upon a few of them because right now it's kind of just like daily drawings, getting people into the routine. And I think, maybe not next week, but like week 4, so scared to like say that even, but week 4, I'll have them revisit their best pieces or the pieces that they have the strongest ties to and kind of, work on those a little bit more, bring them, develop them digitally a little bit. It's just been tough, to find a program that works with everybody. Adobe is free now and they're working with OCPS, but the kids can't install on their laptops. Yeah. So it's kind of like, an issue. And I'm not trying to prioritize my class over other classes or give IT a bunch of grief when they're dealing with like creating secure testing environments for AP testing and stuff like that. So
I was going to ask, do you guys think this completely changes school for the next 20 years? Like, is this kind of like the trial by fire?
I think it will. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more that is outcome based because that's what a lot of teachers are having to kind of condense their classes to. A lot of the other, like you were saying, a lot of the other, I don't want to call it fluff as in like it's meaningless, but a lot of the other things you do to kind of build around the content just aren't as feasible when you're in an online environment. So it kind of cuts it down to what's the thing you need to be able to do at the end of this. I think that's actually a good thing though.
Yeah, I feel like we're almost kind of moving school back to when we were in school, that old, of course, the classic old guy thing, like back in my day. But things were a lot more like cut and dry. Like, here's your assignment, here's your resource, do it. I'm going to look at it, and then I'm going to, address whether or not you have issues with it, assess it. A lot of the stuff that we kind of did to like dress it up, like you said, and make it more engaging and accessible. It's just not feasible digitally. But I mean, I think this is definitely going to affect education because I think it's unavoidable that it's going to affect the world, period. I think people are spending more time at home. They have more time to do hobbies and, like Dickerson said, work on their house, something like that. Spend time with their loved ones, or just call a friend who's not so busy with work finally. And those are kind of the positive parts about it that I think, I mean, you're not going to want to go back to how things were before and not have that time for yourself. You know what I mean? You're going to want to create that. I don't know. There's like a focus on mental health right now. I feel like, you know what I mean? Because you're at home and everyone's checking up on each other and everything. And I hope like those are the parts that don't go away, and maybe even, doing more digital, like Baldwin's already ahead of the curve with that. But the idea of like, here's the content, it's online, it's for you, you can pace yourself. And then when you're in school, let's really take advantage of this resource of being in person and do something different and more dynamic with it. I feel now, after 6 years of teaching, I've taken it for advantage of it. Like, it's just how it is. This is teaching. You do it in school with kids that are engaged. And now that it's been taken away from me, I'm like realizing the opportunity I had.
I was gonna say that opportunity you still have, because like that's what I was saying with what I'm doing now with AP. It's okay. Well, these are things that I've been saying for the last couple of years I wanted to do to get that class like up and running. So now I have at least, we'll say, 3 more weeks, if not longer. So let's use that 3 weeks when I'm not in a live session or a support session, and just build stuff and start putting it together. Because that allows for a lot more of the creativity that comes in when you are in the classroom, when you are in front of the kids, to make sure that they're actually getting the concept and not just, oh crap, I need to put this together, and how am I going to put this and build this? That all can be done.
Yeah, like you want to have like kind of all your ducks in a row, have your plan A done, have your plan B done, so that you're not, shuffling with stuff. It's easy to get like, I don't know. For me, I still do things in the morning before school. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I'm there at 6:30, doing bell work, but it's scary because if something happens and suddenly you're shuffling. So taking advantage of this time to create something that's there that you can rely on, that works, and then you can be more dynamic in the classroom and professionally because you have this time you've created for yourself. I'm excited to see it, like what people do. I mean, Dickerson's gone crazy with the amount of stuff that he's been working on for, video capturing and audio and having these kids do at home, broadcasts and stuff like that. I think it's going to go back to the classroom and change things for sure.
This is failing experiments day in and day out, but like it didn't record audio the first 20 seconds, but now it's working. So there's like all these weird hiccups I'm learning about. Right now we're not on Twitch. We're actually just recording because for some reason the internet died. So I don't know why.
Yeah.
But now I got all this experience with software failing and whatnot. I'll know what to expect. So
yeah. I mean, even people that aren't necessarily educators, like Mr. Barchi, who's helped us out so much.
He did the virtual thing the other
senior night and streams. Like everyone's finding ways to kind of make it work, and this dynamic mindset isn't going to go away suddenly when things are easier for us. We'll still have that kind of that mindset. And for me too, I think it's been harder to like turn off like when you're at work and when you're at home because you're not leaving and coming back. So I feel like my mind's been always kind of like thinking about school related stuff, like granted it happens before this already, but now it's like, 3 PM, an idea hits, you just hop on your computer, start working on something because you can,
It's that weird mentality of like, you don't want to go to sleep and it's like 2 AM and you're like, I have a great idea. So.
Well, but that's the thing that's necessary in order to get that creativity out. You need time. Mm-hmm. You have to have the ability to, even if it's not like direct focus, like when people talk about, Einstein, sorry, it's science teacher, it's going to come out eventually. But when they talk about Einstein, his greatest, I think 1905 was his best year ever in terms of his theories, and that was theory of relativity, special relativity, photoelectric effect, all that. But when he had those ideas, it was while he was working in the patent office. It was while he had time to think about it without doing it, that he was actually able to make connections that no one else was able to see. It's the same thing with us here. We may be working and say, okay, well, I'm done with school for the day. I don't have any more meetings, anything like that. But now at 5 o'clock, because you're still thinking about what you did earlier, man, all these ideas start to come out, and there's an application here, and here's a way that they could possibly interact with it. Or if it was a problem that a student was having, you have that time to kind of troubleshoot it in your head and say, well, what happens if we tried this? And I think that makes the big difference in anything. I feel like that's the biggest thing that we're going to have to take away from, not have to, but we're going to take away from this whole experience. It does require time, but that creativity is going to come into play with the time to actually figure things out. Hopefully we can transfer that to the kids as well, because the adults are getting it.
The idea of like exhaustion almost, like there's not so much of that mental exhaustion, not physical. I mean, there's after a year of teaching, there's no physical exhaustion to it. You become accustomed to it like any other job, but there's a mental exhaustion to the 7 hours of stand-up comedy mixed with philosophical science mixed with content. It's everything in one, and by the end of the day, it's like you almost owe it to yourself to like compartmentalize that so that you can move on and do it again the next day. But now there's not as much mental exhaustion, at least for me, to this. I know there's like anxiety to it and everything, but there's not so much like, oh man, that was a day,
It's not bell to bell. It's the time is expanded. So it's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this from this time to this time. Yeah, I got you.
And just to clarify, what I'm saying is that I am advocating for a 4-day work week. we need digital Mondays. We need digital Mondays so that we can, use that time to create. That's what I'm saying.
No, free Friday.
No, because then you can't build to the football game.
Yeah, no,
that's true.
Fridays, I like Friday energy. Friday energy is nice. Monday energy is non-existent. Monday energy is like every period's first period. Everyone's like, oh.
Having Monday off would make Sundays way better.
Yeah.
I'm like depressed on Sundays. I'm like, oh, gotta start over. Ugh.
It depends. Some Sundays I can't sleep because I got an idea for Monday and I can't wait. And some Sundays I can't sleep because I'm like Monday. But all that stuff seems trivial now. It's funny. I really. Like all the teachers I've talked to, everyone's just talking about next year. Like regardless of back, I mean, I'm still hopeful that there's a chance we might go back. As a science teacher, you might not be so hopeful. You probably understand.
No, I actually am. To be 100% honest, I can say that I actually miss majority of my students.
Yeah.
A couple of them, it's okay, but
you know who you are.
The interaction.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's been nice to read comments from students and stuff and email and everything. And it's a different way of connecting with students. So there's some kids that I feel are more comfortable in this realm. So I've been able to connect with them more. But overall, it's no comparison. I mean, the most stressful day with a student at school is a different type of stress completely than technological stress. Like I didn't have Wi-Fi for 2 days. I would trade that issue for the other any day, completely. I mean, it looks like this might be peak week. If people stay home, it might start going down. We might see May. That's kind of what I meant as a science teacher, but either way, we'll see.
Yeah, what's you guys' over under on this?
No, I'm not a gambling man. I don't know. Honestly, I know people have different coping mechanisms, and I'm the type of person to trivialize things. So I've been trying to like keep calm and not make too many jokes and bets and comments because, I mean, it's real out there. As someone who grew up in New Jersey most of his life, I have a lot of New Jersey, New York friends, and this whole thing is very real to me because it's like log on to Facebook and it's it's memorial posts for people and stuff. It's scary. It's getting real out there. So the type of people who are like, I don't know how to put it nicely. Let's see. My teacher brain I haven't had to use it that much. Okay, so being upset that the situation isn't that bad, like that many people are dying and you're being inconvenienced at work and at home or whatever, is kind of like being stuck in traffic because there was a car accident and then being upset no one died. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, if I'm gonna be inconvenienced, like this better be terrible. Like, no, I'm happy that it's not 240,000 people dead. You know,
Yeah.
I'm happy that it doesn't seem that bad and that young kids can still make jokes about it and not take it seriously because that means that it's working. What we're doing is working, you know?
Yeah. I definitely agree with you on that.
You know, it's bad timing, you know. Like Easter is gonna be weird. That's a big one in my house every year, you know. It's like
That's
the Godfather holiday for us. Like the godparents really do big things on Easter. So I'm gonna be missing out on that. You know, my goddaughter is 4, so you know, it's a fun time. We do big Easter egg hunt and all that. It's a good time. It's a nice mixture of like family and spirituality and everything all together. You know,
I gotta get my daughter.
yeah, that's exactly. This is why I feel bad even complaining about things because then you know you have that reality where it's like Dickerson's daughter's in another state right now. You can't even pick her up. You know, like
They Kentucky's like, hey, no one around the surrounding states haven't tried at all to prevent this, so we're shutting the border down. So
Oh wow.
yeah, they're like, we have 600 cases and Tennessee has 2,600. So yeah, you can't come here if you're in Tennessee. Sorry. So
yikes.
Wow. Yeah, no. I know Indiana did the same thing. They basically shut it down for now 5 more weeks. They did, 6-week shutdown.
I heard Arizona said no school till September already. I was like, what?
Oh wow.
They've got that extreme heat too. They might not have as many issues as I don't know. Climate doesn't seem like to be doing much about it. It's resilient. It's scary and it's resilient, and you know, it's definitely been tough. I don't think we're done seeing what industries have been hit either. That's going to be a dynamic thing. Like I know someone who owns a barber shop. Do you know how rough that's been? You know, that's his only income. His wife doesn't even work. She was like the secretary at the barber shop because it's a well-established business. It's not like he's being risky or something, you know. And he's been reinvesting a lot of his money into the growth. He just opened a second one, so it's like real bad, you know.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of people that I went to high school with who are actually barbers, and they started moving to like one-on-one, like if they can't even get in, one-on-one, come in and cut and keep going. But even that's like really, really low. So it's been extremely low.
With traveling and stuff, and I mean, there's a lot of people like me, you know, I'm not prioritizing cleaning up right now. I haven't even shaved my neck. So you know, I'm sure it's slow. There's just a lot of industries have responded quickly. Like people love their food. Americans love eating out and food service. That was like the first thing that got addressed. We've adapted. We figured out ways to make it work. You know, education is running like normal. There's a lot of things kind of in the back burners that people aren't thinking about, like the mechanics and you know the tradesmen. If you got a little something in your house you need to work on right now, you're not going to call somebody over and have them inside your house. You know what I mean? Like it's not a big deal unless your plumbing's leaking. You know, you're not having someone come over and do work in your house. So it's been rough.
I can't even imagine having HVAC repairs right now. Oh man.
I'd say there's probably a lot of HVAC right now because the AC's running nonstop. You're home. You know what I mean? I'm cheap, man. I have my thermostat like I'm gone, my roommate's gone the same times every day, so the house would be hot, and then I would cool it down a couple of hours before I came in. You know, now it's like 74, 75 all day. So if this thing breaks, like I'll take the risk. Someone's coming to my house.
Yeah.
I'll hope it's a repair that's outside. You know, oh please be the condenser.
Luckily, it hasn't been too bad weather-wise. We haven't had any like super hot days yet, because that's what really will make it horrible.
Yeah, I mean the rain hasn't really come either, but you know.
Oh, it rained the other day. It was so nice. Like it was like all night too.
Well, that was part of my board house improvement plan. You know, I spread seed everywhere, grass seed to fill in those little spots, and I raked it all up, and then I just sat and watched it not rain for days. I've just been hosing my lawn down like an 80-year-old man, just waving at the neighbors.
I watched my wife rake the yard, and I got excited because I was like, "Oh, good, the yard's gonna get watered." So.
No rain, never again. Yeah.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
What do you think how do you think the students are going to respond in terms of time management coming out of this? Because now a lot of them have had that more almost college-like experience where it's more, like I said, deadline based. So it's not, there's no one controlling your time, but you kind of have to adjust it. So how do you think they'll respond in that?
I think it's going to be a healthy thing. There's a little bit less hand-holding and a little bit more personal responsibility and intrinsic motivation. Like, like they have to motivate themselves to stay on task. So I think that hopefully it will boost independence a little bit and also college preparedness. Like, it's a big issue that high school isn't really mirroring the college experience anymore because of what we have to do and the dynamics being in the classroom. So I think that this is kind of better setting them up for college. And I think it's also teaching a little bit more autonomy, like computer autonomy. So I think overall it'll be a positive thing. Right now it's a stressful experience for kids. But I think it'll be a positive overall. That's my belief, at least. What do you think?
My first semester was rough because it was like, oh, I have to study again. Like, I haven't done this in years. It's like all these little things you got to remember how to do. You got to like set 2 hours a night for homework. You got to do this and that. You got to work it around your job. Uh-oh.
Sorry, she's laying on the bed next to me.
Is that a corgi?
Whimpering. No, mini American Eskimo.
Oh, okay. My dog's passed out over there. So it's kind of a, I don't want it to sound like grumpy old man, but it's a little sink or swim and then a little just find out what works. So hopefully the kids take advantage of it and kind of, they respect the severity of the situation, but also like kind of condition themselves. It's a muscle. They just got to start exercising.
Yeah, I think when we were in high school, we all had at least one teacher that was like, here's the worksheet, do it. If you don't do it, you're not going to pass the test at the end of the week because that's all I do. And it was kind of sink or swim, and it was commonplace. You couldn't like come home and complain about that, and your parents would be like, "Wait, what? They give you worksheets?" But now everything's way more dynamic, and there's a lot more accountability on teachers. We're supposed to be doing a lot more. So there isn't a lot of that sink or swim, and then they go to college, and it's just like, here's your philosophy book. This is week 1. You're reading chapter 1. The test is chapter 1. And that's the pace. So I think it's definitely preparing them. I wish it wasn't trial by fire, but I think it's gonna benefit the seniors for sure right before they hit college. Yeah. But I'm more excited for the freshmen, the sophomores, and the juniors because we get them to come back.
We should use this as a threat, like, you guys better do your work or we're going online.
Hey man, I have 9 weeks of online content I could throw at
Don't make me hit the virus button again.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I don't think it's a punishment because it hasn't really been like negative. It's just a different way of doing it. Like Baldwin knows about the multiple intelligences and stuff. I think that this is just gonna work for some kids and not work for others in ways that are going to bleed into the classroom. Like next year when you have those kids back, they're going to have this appreciation for having you in person to pick your brain and to work on stuff. I hope 2 big things come out of this. One, people learn how to ask questions while we're there in person, because that's always an experience for any teacher. Like the best observations you can have are when the kids are asking the important questions, right? And you're just directing them. I think that this excitement will be able to funnel into that where like they want to ask you those questions while they're here. I really hope this starts flipping the classroom. Really, I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I think is going to come out of this is we're going to get towards more differentiated learning. So instead of thinking, my class is on page 5 on this day this week, it's going to be more, like I said, it's more outcome focused. So you may have your kids who are running. Now my dog has decided she wants to get down. Sorry. You're going to have those kids who are like just running with it. You're going to have those kids where they require a little bit more of that hand holding, but they can, start to get into that. And you're going to have those kids who are struggling, but now you have the ability, since you're not trying to direct everything, to kind of focus on them and get them along to where they need to be. Mm-hmm. And with a lot of our kids, like I said, that individual responsibility, I think is what I'm thinking of here, is what we're looking to shift. from it being, okay, it's the teacher's fault that I didn't learn. Oh no, I actually have a role to kind of play in this, and it can actually be interesting because the teacher isn't forced to kind of stand over me and say, why aren't you answering questions? That type of thing.
Absolutely. I also think that it's allowing a window into our world for the parents too. One, they have more time to actually do it because they're probably home too, so they have time to actually look at their work. Two, they're trying to keep their kids motivated. They're trying to keep them occupied, especially the younger kids, not so much our kids. Like, oh, I need 5 hours of content for my 16-year-old, or he's going to drive me crazy. They're not 8, but they still want them to be at school. They want to be doing their work. I've gotten assignment emails from parents this week saying, my student turned this work in late. Why did you give them full credit? They don't deserve full credit if it's late. Wow. And I was like, I'm happy you're excited and that you're monitoring them, but that's not the way I work. If you turn it in late, you're falling behind on what we should be working on. That is the only punishment, is that now you have extra work to do and less time to do it. I'm not punishing your grade. We had this talk at the beginning of the year, and you actually changed my mind completely. Like, your philosophy 100% influenced my teaching philosophy as well, where I was like, I'm grading the work. If you got an 80 on it, you got an 80 on it. You didn't get a 60 magically because it was 2 days late. It's just, I'm grading the work. And that kind of interest and the parents kind of seeing how much we give them, I think is really going to help out too. They're realizing like, wow, their grade is very representative of their performance. There's no, oh, he would have got a B, but he turned everything in late. It's not like that. Yeah. I think that, like you said, how we're kind of taking the time to create more stuff too for next year and everything. I don't want to stop doing anything I'm doing right now. I want to do everything I'm doing right now and do what I was doing in the classroom. Yeah. Because I'm seeing kids that are thriving now that didn't thrive then. And the issue was, if I go over something one time with the whole class, and then they ask me again, and they didn't quite get it, they don't want to ask me a third time, and they don't want to ask me for a resource because they're embarrassed or whatever it is, But now I've created so much redundancy online where it's like, here's how you do it. Here's a screenshot of how you do it. Here's a video of me doing it. Here's a YouTube tutorial of somebody else doing it.
And here's my email.
And there's nothing wrong with creating that resource, because you know what? Some of the kids might not ask you that third time, but they're going to go on Canvas and they're going to watch that video. And I kind of want to create that. And also just my parental contact and my constant announcements. It doesn't take me that long to craft them. I think it's something I want to keep doing. Reaching out to the parents and just giving the kids announcements at 8 o'clock at night. Hey man, it's Friday night. You got to get this done by the end of the weekend, or on Monday, you're going to have extra more work on top of it. Stuff like that. So I think overall, like I said earlier, I've said it a few times, it's a trial by fire. We're getting hardened by this experience. Is it fun for everybody? Is it ideal? No. But we're going to make it through better. I think, honestly, we're going to be better for it. I love that you're just wearing a shirt that says science teacher, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
I can't see the rest of it, so it's funny. It's like a label. Like,
in case you're confused about my
basically,
role,
I'm a wizard. No, that's great. Kids are gonna be confused at the beginning of the video. They're like, okay, he's a science teacher. That guy is a Star Wars. What does he do? This is basically what I do, though. I teach digital art, how to be a nerd.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you guys watched any movies or TV shows?
Not more than I normally do, honestly.
I finally watched Joker.
What did you think of it?
I don't think that was the Joker.
No. DC movies need to stop being superhero movies. I thought that was good.
I think he was in that hospital the whole dang movie.
Oh, you're saying that, like, the unreliable narrator. Yeah, for sure. I think.
Is that what happened? Probably not. That probably was the Joker. But in my head, I'm like, oh, they were smart. They did something weird.
They did a lot of like showing you things that definitely didn't happen, and then not showing you things that may have happened. That by the time it's over, like the narrator's so unreliable that you're just like, I don't really know what I just experienced. It could have been like just a fever dream of some crazy person. But I mean, I'm happy you enjoyed it because DC's not making any movies for a little bit.
Yeah, Wonder Woman
yeah.
got pushed to, I think,
Wonder Woman got
November.
pushed because this. Yeah, that I mean, it's done. I think they just want to release it when people can watch it and they can make money.
Yeah.
Aquaman got delayed because one of the actresses got in trouble for domestic abuse, Johnny Depp's wife. And then Ezra Miller, the actor that plays the Flash, just got in trouble for something too. So they're canceling his movie. DC can't get any luck. You know, they should just stick to comics. It's fine. If you like superheroes, read comic books. You know, I don't understand it. It's like if you have an interest in history, you know, you don't read science textbooks. It's just that's not where you're gonna get it. You know, like you might enjoy reading the history of scientific discoveries, but it's very odd to me. The idea of like getting superheroes from movies is not. It's not the medium for me. It's video games, tell good superhero stories, and comic books, and that's it. As far as what I've consumed, a lot of comic books. If you can't tell, that's basically it. I need something like informational though. I'm gonna pick your brain, Baldwin, for some teacher books while I'm like in this mode. You know?
Marzano.
I read it.
Stuff isn't horrible.
I have to
how
read
people
one.
have done it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I got it around here somewhere. They assigned one of his books to us for my second semester at grad school.
There's nothing wrong with accountability. There's something wrong when it becomes a framework structure for how, you know, we're evaluated. Even that's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, accountability is how you get evaluated. But
Yeah.
when evaluation is tied to other things like, you know, filling out more forms or getting, you know, no more or less pay, it kind of like perverts something that was created to strengthen teachers. You know,
Yeah.
I think what he does is good. I really do. I believe even like the 1, 2, 3, 4 scale, a lot of what he's doing it's a million different things that we've already learned, but just condensed into one more modern philosophy.
And if we didn't have that, we'd have something else.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's always something. And I think that's why teachers become disenfranchised with it, is because there's always going to be something that we're using.
Yeah.
But and also it's just the dynamic of like no one goes into teaching to have 4 bosses. You go into teaching to be like the master of your own domain, but the reality is you have more bosses than most other people do and more accountability than most other people do because your job matters. It's not like, hey, you fill out this form incorrectly. Oh, you wasted your Wednesday. Now you need to do it again on Thursday. It's like, no, kids didn't learn today.
Yeah.
You know, there's a real life, you know, aspect to everything you do. You can accidentally, you know, you can plan for the best day and have the worst day with one class and have a good way. It's just too dynamic to really say that, like, this is the structure. If you're doing it, it's gonna work.
Yeah. I was gonna say most teachers that I talked to, even as you know, Marzano was kind of being rolled out. My first year teaching in OCTS was actually the first year they were doing Marzano, and the biggest complaints they were like, "Well, I'm already doing this stuff, so just keep doing it." Like I don't understand why you're complaining about doing the thing you are already doing, but like the more you start to read, you know what he's talking about. All he did is synthesize a bunch of studies that said, hey, this thing that people are already doing, this actually leads to increased student performance.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, the fact that they've now tied it to so many other aspects and they're using it's supposed to be a feedback system. They're using it as a judgment system.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the fact that they've changed that aspect of it, it makes the whole thing seem like it doesn't work when it actually is really good for giving feedback.
Yeah,
which is what it was designed for. But yeah, definitely. I have some resources here, some different websites that I use and read and take ideas from. So
yeah, because I know like you keep a blog and everything like that, so you're definitely the right person to ask about it. I mean, this has been kind of a dynamic moment for people to have more time for that stuff too. I know LaBelle is starting a YouTube channel where he's doing like technology in education, more centered on musical performance and stuff like that, because there's just so much technology there. And I mean, kudos to those people. Could you imagine like Barchi's having 70 kids sing on Zoom at once? Like,
I'm helping.
I can't
That's
stop
interesting.
myself from talking over you.
I'm helping Amico with a video. I got to finish that today. Where like, here's the karaoke track, and then here's 15, 20 kids. Put it all together, and it's like, oh, everyone's singing at a different speed. Oh.
Yeah, it's scary. It's definitely scary.
I was
Dance is doing a ballet. What is it? Like study with the Orlando Ballet Company today. Like just, I mean, really, really great things are happening because now when things are digital, people are realizing like, wait, I can invite all these other people into it. You know,
Mhm.
it's not always feasible to have 70 high school students go down to the Orlando Museum of Art, you know, and walk the halls and meet, you know, me be responsible or try and find chaperones and money and all that. But if they're doing a virtual tour, I just send a link out.
Yeah.
Here's access to something that would have cost you $20 and 5 hours of your time walking around. Now you can fast forward through what you don't like, stop at what you're interested in, you know, click things and read more information. I love it. I think that we're being forced to embrace the stuff that was always there for us, but we just took it for granted. We didn't realize the full potential of something, you know?
Yeah. There are so many tools and experiences out there. Like you said with LaBelle, with just the music technology side of it, it probably forced him to kind of dig in and figure out, okay, how can I get this done? And now you're starting to see all of these opportunities. Like, man, I really didn't know that this was even available, you know, to even work with. I don't know if any of you have used, what is the name of that? Flipgrid for responses. But
No.
Flipgrid it's literally like, say you're having a discussion with your kids in class and you want them to respond, but you want to get their individual responses. You can have them do a Flipgrid video from their computer where they are, and then you can go back and watch the responses. So if they're like, well, how do you know that the students understood it? You can actually pull student responses and here it is, these students versus the choral response or, you know, the typing an essay or discussion post where some of those kids are like, I really don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just finding the ways to use the technology to meet the goal of what you're trying to do. I think that was when I first got started with trying to do anything technology based. I was just like, ooh, tech, use it all. And then I started realizing, hold on, what was I trying to actually have them do with this? Why was I using this? You know, and as I started to look at why I want them to do X, what's an easier way or a way I can use technology to help them to do that more efficiently? Boom, okay, I can use this tool. This tool will be great for that. And kind of start building it out that way. You start to get more, what you'll hear, if you're reading on blogs, you'll hear more authentic learning.
Yeah.
But that's all that means. It's a way for the students to process and learn the material in their own way so that they can actually, you know, construct something from it and use it beyond the classroom. That's why I like Chef Bates. I love his class. You know, the things that he's able to do with them, but also the mindset. Like, he's literally training his 3rd and 4th year kids. This is how you run a restaurant. This is how you run a kitchen. This is how you develop a product and market it for sale. Like, these aren't just, yay, you can cook something. It's, no, this is, you know, all encompassing in life. And you can take this along with the serve safe or whatever other certifications and walk into a job and be highly valued.
Mm-hmm.
That was what we're trying to move education towards.
Yeah. In case, instead of creating this like sterile simulation where it's like, today we're going to look at what it would feel like to have a design challenge as a designer. It's like, no, strip all that away. Here is a bag of coffee for Wekiva High School. They're going to sell this product. How do we make it look like other things, but also make it dynamic and interesting? Let's look at consumer reports, things like that. You know,
let's contact some of the companies and get their feedback on it. What are the things that they value? What are they looking for? Because it's one thing for them to think, you know, you as the teacher, Dickerson or Bates or whoever, you know, is just judging it, because in their mind they think, oh, well, Dickerson knows me. He knows what I was trying to do. Versus somebody who's like, no, I actually do this every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this. This shouldn't be here, or this should be here. I like the way you did it. It gives them a lot more feedback and a lot more application value outside of the classroom.
Yeah.
And that's what we like, what is it? I had a conversation with one of my students, and if you meet this student, I don't know, I haven't checked the schedule to see if either of you have him, but if you actually talk to him, highly, highly intelligent. If you are sitting in a classroom with him and 30 other kids, he is going to drive you nuts. And it's just because his mind is thinking here and the work level is here. So if he knows it bugs you that he talks in a specific voice, he's going to talk in that specific voice all class period. But we talked about, him doing physics and having them build a robot and actually design things. He was like, yeah, that would be awesome. Like, it's something that they can take and do something with. They see the bigger picture. It's not just take algebra 2 to take algebra 2. No, algebra 2 ties into physics and chemistry. So why not use some data from either of those and show them this is how it's applied outside of the room?
Yeah. Instead of it being like, Mr. Baldwin is saying that you did good in chemistry. It's like, no, science is proving that you understand chemistry because I'm looking at this professional here and this example here, and the idea of like actually accomplishing a goal towards another strength, like what they're learning in culinary, for example, it's gonna benefit them in any way because they're learning how to work and how in a collaborative environment or under pressure or with deadlines and presentation and safety, all these things. And I think what you said earlier is also really interesting about what you're trying to get as the finished goal doesn't necessarily have to define how you get it. So like if you want a response at the end of class to gauge understanding, my mind goes exit slip, and I would always do an exit slip. That's not serving the students that immediately when they see exit slip are like, oh, and they don't want to write and they don't give it an honest attempt. And I'm not really gauging those students anymore. But suddenly you do something new, like film this little video using Flipgrid, and you have the engagement again. So it's kind of like challenging yourself to like not go back to the same thing every time you want. Like I have my students do the rubrics every like project, and it got to be so routine that I wasn't getting anything out of them anymore. I wasn't excited to grade them. They weren't excited to fill them out. And then it was like, those are gone. Now you're doing reflections. It's a lot less guided, just write about your process of creating this artwork, or whatever it was, or critiquing other artworks before we make your own. So you don't always like examining your own work every single time, because that creates disinterest as well. Because it's like, oh, I know when this is done, what's going to happen next. That idea of predictability is kind of scary because I want my class to have a rhythm, but I don't want my class to be, predictable.
It's getting to a point where you can. Sorry, I feel like I've read way too many books and I'm about to start feeling stuff that came back from like way back. But that UDL course that we had to do for certification. But the idea is eventually getting to a point where you're coming to the end of a lesson, a unit, or whatever, and you need a response, and you can give 2 or 3 options. So the kids who want to record a video can record a video. The kids who are like, man, I would rather type, here's a discussion post, and they respond. It's all the same question, but the way that they respond then becomes different. So it keeps them engaged. It's personalized learning without you having to create like every single path all the way out for every kid. I feel like that's where we're trying to head.
And it is super authentic because, if let's say Miss Erickson came to me and was like, D. Miranda, I want you to create a resource for close reading strategies. She didn't tell me to make a poster. She told me to create and that's the way it is in the professional world. So I could choose to make a video, a poster, a quick little checklist, however you want to do it. And there's no wrong way. There's creating a way that serves the purpose. So like you said, giving them multiple different options. I think it's like a great way to keep your classroom dynamic and authentic. The idea of authenticity is like that word, like you said, it's kind of like an eye rolling word, like, oh, authentic. Everyone thinks they're authentic. If you're actually doing it, it's authentic. But the idea of it means you're never doing anything you don't want to do. Because you see the value in what you're doing.
Exactly.
It's interesting. These are. We need to broadcast this for the teachers. The kids aren't gonna want this on the announcement.
I was gonna share this. Don't worry.
No, this is good stuff for a lot of people. Absolutely. But more importantly, it's just been nice to like pick each other's brains and have a sense of normalcy. You know, I don't bump into you in the prep room anymore. I never thought I'd miss the way the copy machine smells.
Me and Baldwin both have fourth period planning, so it was turning into hey, I'm coming to your room. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is an easy way to do that. Come into your room. Here's a Zoom link. Boom. Go.
Yeah. Did you get any emails from kids about this going back to tedious stuff? I had a lot of kids that say they couldn't get on Zoom today on their laptops, particularly their laptops.
I've had a lot of students who said they couldn't get on Zoom with their laptops in general. And so most of them, when they have, they've been just going to their phones. Yeah. And then just doing it through the app.
Because I already made my Zoom like, it's more like a Twitch stream where like I'm just looking at typed chats. They're not talking. They're not visible. It's just better that way. The first week was a little bit of a learning curve. It was like, hey guys, this isn't an Xbox Live chat room. Like, don't share your. I had 2 kids share their gamer tags and then log off. Like they were. It's like, who wants to play some Call of Duty? Here's my gamer tag, and then it was like, boop, dropped from the chat. Boop, dropped from the chat. I was like, I just lost 2 kids to Call of Duty. I can't compete with that.
I told my kids I would play some games and do some video editing and stuff here and there. And one kid was like, hey, will you email me when you're going to play Call of Duty? And he hasn't watched my stream yet because I haven't emailed. I'm like,
you need to do the YouTube trick where in the very middle of your video, you show 2 seconds of Call of Duty so that when the video is done, the pause screen is Call of Duty. Like, oh, Mr. Dickerson's playing Call of Duty. And then they click the video and you're talking
that'll be my luck though. I'll get a phone call from Erickson like, are you playing Call of Duty during work hours?
I mean, are you judging by the thumbnail and not watching the videos?
What's your gamer tag, Mr. Dickerson?
Yeah, no. I'm enjoying a little bit of a solo gameplay, you know. I'm not missing social interaction that much that I need to be online with a bunch of kids getting yelled at and people telling me what my mom does for a living. You know, it's all, I'm fine playing solo single player games or board games.
I've been playing pinball.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's so
good. I think it's funny. Like last week, I literally have it sitting next to me. I actually picked up a book. So I was like, you know what? I've seen screens way too long. I'm just gonna read. And it was just like for a couple of days where I didn't want to look at a screen. I didn't want to do anything. It was just like, okay, feel the breeze, enjoy life.
I broke my glasses a few days into spring break.
Ooh.
And I called the America's Best. And they talked to me on the phone for like 20 minutes. And then they're like, oh, well, we're closed anyway. And I'm like, why did you pick the phone up?
They just wanted you to know they were thinking about you.
And then the next day I called back, and that was right when the governor did the whole lockdown. And they were like, yeah, we're not doing anything till April. So,
dang.
And I'm getting like blinder every day, I feel like.
No, that's a good idea. Like I found a spot with like some natural light, like right here where I'm at, you know, I have one light on the rest is just coming in through the windows and just sitting down, reclined and reading something off a screen, like off a book that's not a screen. Because I mean, my bags they're getting bad. I mean, I'm staring at blue screen way too much because I already do it personally. That's the worst part. It's like I would come home from work and do 2-3 hours on the computer, either making graphics for a client or doing something for school or just for fun playing video games. So now it's just like I live here. I live on this chair, and now I'm gonna have to move somewhere else when I read because I usually read at this chair too. It's bad. No, I'm happy I picked this up, man. I was ahead of the curve on this whole Corona thing. I saw it coming because I have some very paranoid friends. And I went to Sam's Club and I bought myself a computer chair and a new webcam because I was like, we're not coming back from spring break, guys. All the kids thought I was crazy. I got so many emails that first couple of days like, wow, you were right. Sorry, I looked at the news in the other half of the world.
My wife got a toilet paper at Target yesterday.
There we go.
It's getting better.
I just order mine online.
Every time I try, the delivery windows are filled up.
Oh no,
where are you
Instacart.
ordering from?
I was trying to do Amazon or Amazon Prime now.
Oh no, I'll order mine from Office Depot.
You know, I
Straight to
went
my
there.
door.
I went there the other day because I'm eBaying a bunch of crap while I'm at home. I'm like, I'm gonna get rid of all this crap, and I went in there to buy envelopes, and they had people waiting for toilet paper already. I was like, wow, I didn't even think about you guys.
Yeah, I need to go to Michael's, but I set it up for pickup because they have 20% off all crafting materials right now, like the whole store.
Wait,
So
are they open?
I need paint. I'm gonna go crazy if I run out of paint. I need to keep my idle hand.
Hobby Lobby shut down, so I'm shocked Michael's is still open.
Michael's shifted to like creating ways where you can actually safely, buy their products. Hobby Lobby was like, we're staying open, just come, and that's not really a good business model.
And
so,
pray it away.
Also, a large majority of Hobby Lobby's workforce is older than 65. So
Yeah,
because it's a craft store. Have you ever seen someone work in the fabric section that wasn't a grandma? It's kind of they can't stay open. And I'm trying to support the places that I like on a daily basis. My local restaurants and stuff like that. But
Chipotle.
Chipotle.
I had that yesterday.
All right, guys. I'm gonna head out though because I need to eat some food.
You're good. Thank you guys for
that
chatting.
would be a good idea. Oh,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah,
Thanks for the
absolutely. This is
invite.
great. Yeah, let me know if you guys want to do it again.